welcome back to your 10-day mindfulness commitment. And good job for making it this far. You made it to day 4, and good to see you back here again. So day 4 is about judgment. And when we talk about judgment in the context of mindfulness, we're referring to that part of the mind that always wants to label things as either good or bad, right? You see something, you hear something, you think about something, and it always has a little tint of, is it good? Is it bad? So we have a tendency to judge every thought, every perception, everything we see and hear and so on into good and bad. And that can create a lot of mental suffering because the world all of a sudden is really bad and sometimes good, but that also creates room for bad, right? So it's good and bad all the time. And now what a lot of people try to do when they sort of realize that they're so judgmental is to try to think their way out of it, right? Oh, I won't stop judging. I'll stop judging. I'll stop judging. And really what you're doing is sort of judging yourself for being judgmental. So it's a bit of a paradox here, right? Oh, I'm so foolish. I keep judging people, right? You see the irony of that, or the paradox of that, trying to judge yourself for being judgmental. So really, when we approach it this way, we only sort of create more of this spinning of the mind, right? We create more thinking, we create more judgment. So a better way to approach this, to try and become less judgmental, which is a really nice thing to have or to do, is to not try and change it, but to observe it and allow it to be. Don't judge it, just allow it to be neutral, not good, not bad, just as it is, right? So that's what we're practicing in this practice when we do mindfulness. And in practice, what that means is that when these thoughts arise of, oh, I'm doing so bad, oh, I got distracted, oh, I'm so bad at this exercise, just put that into this labeling, this noting technique that we learned the other day. Just think, oh, there's judging. Allow it to be and move on back to the breath, right? So we're not sort of allowing this judgment to cross over or like to drift as this thing that's covering all our thoughts. We're noticing it just as we're noticing thoughts and distractions and sounds and whatever it might be, feelings, sensations. We're noticing, oh, there's judgment, right? I'm thinking, I'm judging that thought. All right. So with that approach, we're going to take that into our practice today and try to notice when we become judgmental of anything, but probably mostly ourselves for a lot of people. And just let that glide. Don't try and change it. Just notice it and label it and note it and move on. All right. So you know how it goes. Get comfortable. And we're going to do a little practice here, you and I. So starting with eyes open, just take a moment to take in the scenery around you. Maybe noticing something you haven't noticed before. Small little detail. And take some deep breaths with me here. And one more deep. Beautiful. One last more here. And allowing the eyes to close now. And settling into doing this exercise here by just becoming aware of the contact with the seat. Clothes on your skin. Any sounds from inside the room or maybe outside the room. Any smell and any taste, if there is any. If not, it's okay. Just noticing whatever is present right now. And we're going to do a check-in with the body, just noticing how we feel right now in the body. And today I'm going to allow you to do it in your own time. So in the next 20 to 30 seconds, just starting at the top of the head and gently moving that awareness down through the body, and we'll meet at the toes. Just starting now. And if the mind starts wandering, it's no problem, just coming back and continuing down through the body. Not judging it, but just noticing it. And all the way down to the toes. Beautiful. And just like we did with the body just now, we're going to do with the mind. So just asking yourself with curiosity this question: how do I feel right now? What sort of mood, what sort of emotions, what sort of feelings are present in this moment? Not judging it, but just noticing whatever might be the case. Beautiful. And bringing the awareness now back to the body, we're going to become aware of the breath, and in particular, the movement of the chest. We're going to stay here for some minutes with this movement of the chest, the way it's rising and falling on inhales and exhales. And if you want, you can count them, just like we've done before. So counting 1 on an inhale, and 2 on an exhale. Counting 3 on an inhale, and 4 on an exhale. And continuing up to 10, and starting over from 1. And whenever the mind starts drifting, or you find yourself somewhere else than the breath, just simply noting the distraction and coming back again to the breath and the movement of the chest. And noticing in that moment when you realize you were distracted, is there any judgment? If so, don't try and change that. Just notice it, label it, and allow it to pass. Always just coming back to the breathing and the counting of the breath whenever you find yourself distracted. And we're going to do this just for a little longer here. So try and see if you can stay with the breath. And now just letting completely go of that effort, of that staying with the breath, counting the breath, and just allowing the mind to be free, having nothing to do. So if the mind's been wanting to think, just let it spin. And coming back to the body now, just noticing the physical contact with the seat, clothes on your skin, any sounds, any smell, any taste, anything that can get you back into being right here in this room, right now. And in your own time, when you're ready, you can just gently open the eyes, come back into being here, right now. And before wiggling around too much, before the mind starts spinning again, just taking a moment to notice how it feels to be you in this moment. Not judging it. Try not to use the word good and bad in your mind. Just notice it. Less thoughts, more thoughts. Less tension, more tension. Whatever might be the case. Just noticing, observing. So I wonder how that was for you today, trying to incorporate that idea of judgment, of letting go of this part of the mind that really wants to label anything as good or bad. So this practice is something that is really important when we sit to practice mindfulness. But throughout life, in general, the daily life you are living, it's also a thing we can carry on to notice when the mind starts judging, right? And just letting go of that a little bit, stepping back, observing it for what it is. And usually, when we become aware of what the mind is doing, it's we create a little distance to that. We can see things more clearly. So that's a practice you can carry with you throughout your day. But I'll see you again for day 5 tomorrow.